After personally analyzing over 100 service businesses, I've found that the average owner is actually leaking at least 20% of their profit without even realizing it. I'm Abby Johnson, certified profit first professional, and in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 hidden leaks draining your business and how to plug them fast. The first profit leak is that most business owners are operating on a broken formula. Let's first talk about what is profit. Profit sounds like a general word, but profit is actually going towards certain things. Profit should include owner's compensation. This is your compensation for actually working in the business. Profit also includes taxes. Your business should be able to pay for the taxes that you are accruing. And then you should also have profit that's able to be distributed. This is if you are distributing to silent investors, owners out of the day-to-day, and then you as the owner, you should be getting distributions as well as like a bonus. So all of these 3 things account for profit, and a lot of business owners forget about that. And what happens is we're all operating off of the same generally accepted accounting principles. It's called GAAP, and really what that formula is revenue minus expenses equals profit. So profit is coming last in this equation. The money is piling up, it's all going out and being spent, and then at the end of the day, there isn't really anything left for profit. This is how I find people in situations where they can barely pay themselves an owner's compensation, or they're able to take owner's comp, but they can't pay their big tax bill. And distributions, a lot of business owners I work with aren't even taking distributions. So profit is leaking just by going based off of this general principle that most everyone operates on. Let's look at flipping the script on this formula. So if we use the profit first formula, what we do is we take revenue minus profit equals expenses. So this means we're setting aside right away to cover these factors of profit, and then we're running the business with what's left over. Then you're being innovative with your other spending. So yes, you have to pay payroll, but maybe you actually look at the subscriptions you're paying for. You start really paying attention to what you're spending, and just by flipping this formula around, it really changes the way you spend money, and you're gonna save money from day one. That leads me to our next profit leak, which is cash flow management. Most people, even if you just took that formula and went and applied it now, if you don't apply it properly and actually manage the cash properly, you're not going to reap the full benefits of it. So what we need to actually put this into practice is a series of bank accounts. When someone is using one bank account for all of their income and all of their expenses, it's very unclear what you can actually spend. So let's say this is a bucket. You have one bucket for your money and you have 50 grand in that bucket. And then throughout the week, you get another 50 grand of income. So this is 50, this is 50. So you've got a total of 100K. You're like, wow, I've got 100K. I can go make that new hire. I can go buy the new truck I was wanting to buy, whatever it is that's on your mind. But then by the time you spend all that money, your account might look more like this, and you might only have 10K, but you forgot about paying yourself, planning for your quarterly tax bill that's almost due, making sure that you actually can distribute to yourself or reinvest for growth in some other way. It can be very confusing when all of the money is going in and out of one place. I once had a client I was working with, and she didn't want to implement the accounts that I'm about to talk about because she thought it would be too confusing. But what would end up happening is she was the breadwinner for her family, and her personal finances were a wreck. She was overdrawing on her account even though her business had money in it. She never knew how much she needed to be taking home. So we finally implemented these accounts, and then she was able to see what she needed to bring home, what she could bring home, and we got her on a consistent payment schedule for herself so that her personal finances were secure and this problem wasn't hanging over her head when she should be treating patients and thinking about these financial problems. So let's look at these accounts I'm talking about. So instead of this one bank account system, we actually want to have 5 accounts. The first bucket is income. All of the money goes into this bucket. So you pick a set allocation rhythm that works for you, and then you're going to allocate to the following buckets. The first bucket is one specific specifically called profit. This is a bank account setting aside for profit. And what that means is at the end of every quarter, you as the owner can take half of this account as a distribution. This is your bonus. This is what you do to reward yourself, go do something fun. So let's say you have $50K in your income account, and we're going to put 10% aside into profit. The profit account has $5K. The next bucket is the owner's compensation account. For this revenue of business, we would also want to put 10% aside for owner's compensation. We've got another $5K in owner's compensation. Then we have a tax account or a tax bucket, and 15% needs to go in that bucket. So now we've got $7,500 in this account. And then finally, the last account we allocate to is the OPEX account. We want to see this account at about 65% for businesses doing over $1 million in revenue. So we put 65% in operating expenses, and that's $32,500. Now you can see when we look at these buckets, we see a clearer picture of what can actually be spent. And look at the difference between this versus this account where you thought you had $100K to spend. That looks very different than this operating expense bucket, right? You instantly save money when you start managing your money this way, and that means more profit. You're immediately putting profit in a profit account. You're immediately setting aside for taxes, which a lot of you aren't, I know that. And then you're already getting your owner's comp covered. If this is hitting home and your revenue is up, but your bank account isn't, it's time to fix it. My team will find your top profit leaks in one of our free profit assessment calls. Most owners find 20 to 100K in hidden profit on these calls. So click the link below, book your call today, and stop losing money. Profit leak number 3 is the scope creep. The scope is what you have agreed to do. And what happens is a lot of business owners think that just adding things in here and there is good customer service. And sometimes it is. But what happens either through trying to overcompensate and make a customer happy, or out of desperation and needing the sale, needing the close, business owners will sell things that the team is not actually ready to deliver. I would rather have my service be the best and have the best value behind it than trying to add things in here or there to make up for an inferior service. Because when you add things in that weren't supposed to be there, your team isn't used to, you don't have a set system for, you're wasting time and resources. What you need to be doing is documenting, billing everything you're doing if you are in a billing type model, and charging for everything you're doing, but just make sure that is of quality, the value is behind that price. Then you can charge the best price, the most profitable price, while also getting great results for your customers. This leads into profit leak number 4, which maybe should be number 1, because a lot of business owners have the misconception that busy team members mean productive team members. I see this a lot when I'm looking at the finances and looking at how much someone is paying in payroll, and it's usually above the threshold of what I want to see. And you could say, well, they're just not priced high enough, but most of the time it's actually because their team is not as efficient or productive as they could be. This could be due to inefficient systems, or this could be inefficient employees. I have a client who is a large engine mechanic. When I dug into his numbers and was really pulling the string on what was going on and why he wasn't profitable, he had very high revenue. He finally admitted that he wasn't billing certain hours. And I got on him and I said, why? Like, you need to bill the hours. And it was because he knew that his techs were taking too long or making a mistake or something like that. So he didn't feel right billing the client for that. This is definitely a waste of time for him, and they are working hours that he in turn can't bill because they're not doing a good job. So the way to catch this is to make sure every team member has some sort of metric that's being monitored. This isn't to turn your employees into numbers, but it's to factually see what they are producing. So you need to have statistics that actually monitor what people are doing, if they're doing their jobs, if they have more capacity, if they need help. And if you have a more efficient efficient team, you can have more efficient profit. It's going to take them less time to deliver, less time to do things. You can bill more hours, etc. That is how you're going to get more profit back into your pocket. All right, the final profit leak is not having the proper systems in place. I'm talking specifically your administrative processes. A lot of business owners don't focus on this because they don't think it directly relates to making money, but these administrative processes do lead to money. They lead to inefficiencies if you don't have them in, but if you do have them in, that's where the big dollars are at. Having poor systems can lead to things like missed invoices, missed leads, missed opportunities, so you really need to be on top of this. IDC research actually showed that having sloppy processes was losing business owners 20 to 30% of their revenue annually. After working with service businesses from 100K to 30 million, I have found one thing to be true, and that is profit doesn't just vanish. It leaks through gaps that can be fixed. Once you see them, you can't unsee them, but once you fix them, profit finally starts showing up automatically. If you want to find out how much profit your business is leaking right now, click the first link below and book your free profit assessment. We'll pinpoint your biggest leaks and show you how to plug them fast. I'll see you in the next video.